end of the pathway almost. The purpose of this project is for the member to apply his or her skills as a public speaker and leader to facilitate a panel discussion. All the best.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's invite Toastmaster Vranda. Write it right, Toastmaster Vranda. Over to you.
Thank you. You can make anything by writing. Rightly said by C.S. Lewis. Do you agree?
Yes.
Writing skills are essential if you wish to elevate your personal or professional growth. So today, whether you want to write to inform, write to inspire, or you want to write to impress someone, you need to write it right, isn't it? So today, I'm Vranda Rathi, my dear fellow Toastmasters and the guests. I'm here to moderate the panel discussion on Write It Right. I'm very fortunate to have some esteemed panelists with me who are all experts in their own field. So let us begin with the introduction. The first panelist is DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Biswajit Adhikari. He joined Toastmasters in 2010. He works with Wipro Financial Services Private Limited. He has 2 decades of professional experience of writing and reviewing project reports across various sectors. Please give a round of applause. Our next esteemed panelist is Toastmaster Dhanraj Kamdar. He's a global customer experience expert specialized in luxury car brands like Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, Audi and Toyota. He's also a TEDx speaker. Please put your hands together. Our next esteemed panelist is Distinguished Toastmaster Kushal Lalwani. He's an entrepreneur in the field of telecommunications. He's a public speaker coach at Amdavad Management Association. He's the division director of the upcoming term at Toastmasters International and author of the book The Attitude Factory. So please put your hands together. And last but not the least, our next esteemed panelist is Toastmaster Aditi Iyer, who is pursuing her BTech in Electric Engineering from Nirma University. She's a good orator and she's excellent when it comes to communication. So please put your hands together for our social media expert, Toastmaster Rathi. So let's begin with the social media. Yes, these days we all are there. Who all are there on social media? Raise your hands. Almost all of us, isn't it? So Toastmaster Aditi, social media is a great influencer. We all want to show our presence there. But what are some do's and don'ts of social media writing?
So social media writing in general is very different from normal writing. You cannot use that many words and you have to engage your audience within those number of words. So one of the do's that I would suggest for people is to keep it short, precise and catchy. You have to catch a person's attention within the first 5 words that they read. The second thing that one needs to keep in mind, that's a don't that I would suggest, is to watch your words. Don't use words that could influence anyone in a negative way. For example, I'll tell you there's social media influencers called the Kardashians. I think everyone would be aware of them. One of them, for some reason, told that I diet a lot and I wear really skimpy clothes and stuff, and that actually led to 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds getting diseases because of it, anorexia, where people actually don't eat food because they thought that they are getting influenced. So maybe not at this great level, but at any level, people can get easily influenced. So watching the words you speak is very important, and secondly, using less words to convey the message is important.
Thank you. So, because we all are social media working and writing on social media, and not just social media, even on WhatsApp, our language, we have forgotten to written. By the way, we write BT and all, using all the short forms, and it is really complicated when we have to write a business proposal or write a formal email. At least sometimes I struggle to do so. So, Toastmaster Biswati, I would like to ask you that how can one make your business writing more engaging and impressive, at the same time not using these shortcuts?
First of all, thanks Vranda for inviting for the panel discussion. So business writing, the opportunity is very large. So in any organization or any business context, anything you write is transactional, like writing an email to policy, to writing memo, or it can be an advertisement, all are business communication, very broad. Now there, to make it interesting or make it engaging and memorable, the first thing is clarity. Communication clarity is very important. And written communication is the slowest form of communication. So to make an impression, the clarity is to say. Generally, context it will be very clear. Like I am launching a product, the context I have to say. I am withdrawing a product, then context is set. Similarly, I am hiring an employee or firing an employee. The context, communication context is very important. Second is career. How do you convey? I'm just writing an email or giving a document to read, or it can be a policy form. So the career defines how do you communicate. Because if I write an email, it cannot be 10 pages. Because the policy, I have the freedom to write. So career is another important thing. And content, in written communication, content is the king. There is nothing, because there is no other thing that is replaced. Content is what the reader gets to read. If content, the clarity is not there, or content is not meaningful, then entire communication falls flat. So three things, if I keep in mind, every time I think no one can make wrong with the communication.
Thank you, Biswati. That was indeed helpful. And where we talk about all kinds of writing, social media writing and business writing, some of us also aspire to write our own books, isn't it? Write our blogs, especially when we write our speeches here. Toastmaster Kushal, I would like to ask you that how do you infuse freshness when, like, first of all, congratulations, you have just launched your book, The Attitude Factory. So, attitude, we have read so much about attitude, isn't it? But how do you infuse that freshness in your book when you're writing? How do you infuse that when so much of data is around?
Thank you so much for having me here. As in public speaking also, we say that if you are self-charged, self-motivated and you are energized to put something in front of the public, then audience will be the mirror reflection of your content. Likewise, in book also, while reading it third or fourth time, if you are still feeling raw, still feeling energized and still feeling motivated by the words which you have put in, it will be reflected by the audience also. You have to be very much convinced. Conviction is the first thing. When you write a book, it's mostly, it gives you a credential, it gives you a credibility that you are an author now. But then it gives you responsibility also that what you are putting in has to be true, has to be really effective and helpful to people. So broadly, first of all, you should be convinced to the utmost level, and then only it can be reflected to the audience. But always try to be genuine. Genuinity always shows. You need not have deliveries as we have in Toastmasters, vocal variety, body language, drama, but the words should be visualizing enough, and if they can portray a picture, audience will definitely take it forward.
Thank you, Toastmaster, for this. Now we all want to aspire, right from social media writing, business writing, writing a book, and then to inspire everybody. We, at least, when I heard that Toastmaster Dhanraj was a TEDx speaker, I was like, wow. So Toastmaster Dhanraj, congratulations for the same, and please let us know that how do you approach when you have to craft a TEDx speech? So what are the do's, don'ts, how one approaches to write that?
Thank you all for being here and inviting me to be over here. Thank you, Vranda, for inviting me to the panel discussion. If we talk about writing a speech, apart from writing a book, writing a blog, or writing a project report, whatever three contexts you have heard earlier can be reread again, can be replayed again as many times as you want. You can read a blog as many times as you want. You can read a social media post as many times. You can read a project report as many times. But you cannot replay the speech or the words that somebody has spoken. So while writing a speech, you need to keep that in mind that your words, once you have spoken to the audience will not be able to replay it. So you have to keep that thing importantly in your mind. Second thing is the idea. What idea you want to convey to the audience? What is the purpose of that idea? To surprise the audience? To shock the audience? To inspire the audience? To persuade the audience? Or to entertain the audience? So that idea has to be very important. The purpose has to be defined and then the idea has to be defined. Once the purpose and idea has to be defined, you need to understand what kind of audience you are going to present that idea. Audience can be student, audience can be children, audience can be the professionals, audience can be the corporates also. So that also you need to understand. Audience can be of a mixed group, right? Right now we all are sitting over here. Somebody is studying, somebody is doing project research, somebody is a vice president. You need to connect the audience with the common idea that impacts them all. So while writing a TEDx speech or any speech to influence, you have to keep that in very important mind. Your words cannot be replayed by the audience. So you have to choose your words very wisely that it goes straight in their mind. To do that, you need to develop an idea that connects with them. So for writing a speech, I would conclude that do not think what you are doing. Think why you are doing. Once you decide why you are doing, then everything finds its way. Regarding do's and don'ts, I would say you need to put all your words in all manner the way you want. Whatever idea comes in your mind, just throw it on the piece of paper. Throw it on the piece of paper. Generally, the TEDx speech is 12 to 18 minutes. 18 minutes is there. You can see people who have concluded the speech in 5 minutes also. So it's 18 minutes. You need to put the words, you need to put words. Then you have to relate your thing, what idea and what audience you are conveying. Slowly you will start subtracting the words. So in my case, if I prepare a speech, it can be, if it is a 15-minute speech, it can be 2,500 words. But if I cut it down, I trim it down, just thinking that what is the idea, is my idea totally conveyed, is my content conveyed, then you will trim it. And then you have to present it. That's all from my side.
Thank you for that insight. It is so important, the why is so important, whether we are writing for a TEDx talk, whether we are writing a business proposal or a book, blog or on social media, the why is so important. In the time we reach to, so let us take small steps and let us start building our writing skills in all these sectors. Toastmaster Aditi, if we talk about all the writers, they want to leverage social media because we are all chasing rainbows. So through social media, what are those things which we have to keep in mind to build our personal brand or professional brand?
So first of all, as BDM Vishwajit said, clarity. That is equally important when you write a social media for a brand, especially what the brand wants and what sort of audience do you need comes from the clarity of words. But here, as I mentioned before, there are very few words that you can use. But you need to ensure that the clarity is there, readability. And the second important thing that you need to remember to leverage it properly is engaging the audience, is keeping your blog, your social media captions very trendy. Because social media, especially Instagram, the algorithm can mess it very quickly. Because if you don't have that right word, if you don't have that right hashtag, if you do not have the right sort of post that's on trend, your post will never be seen. So one of the most important things is be on trend. Right? Currently, it's the Pride Month going on. So if your caption reads something, say a Taylor Swift song about Pride, you have something like "you need to calm down." that is a very catchy phrase. We might not understand it, but the internet understands it. The algorithm understands it. And at the end of the day, to build a brand, sadly, you need to understand the algorithm better. So be on trend and have clear clarity of what you're trying to convey. That's a very easy and effective method for writers to build their social media.
Thank you. That we can make use of this from today itself. Yes, I'm going to use these proper hashtags. Thank you, Toastmaster Aditi. So when we talk about algorithms, technicalities, what about technical writing? So I would like to ask you, Toastmaster Biswati, that what are the key elements which we need to keep in mind when we are doing any kind of technical writing? Because that is something very technical. So let us go to the technical person for that.
Technical writing is the boring stuff. Technical writing is in a way business writing. So I don't know what comes to mind when you hear the word technical writing. It can be the manual that you read with any product comes, in phone or television or air condition. And I'm sure none of you would have read the manual. So it's so boring. And it can be policy guideline, it can be a research paper. Research paper is slightly interesting, but the manuals at the end are very good. So it's a big challenge, it's a lot of content and not very interesting. You cannot infuse entertainment or you cannot infuse humor to it. You can try, but none of the companies have tried so much. But company like Apple, at least they try to simplify it. So that simplicity is the key in technical writing. And the best part is in technical writing, what one can do is that at least avoid jargons. So every professional field have their own jargons. If it's a software, their own jargons, or it is medical science, their own jargons. If I simplify, then my audience gets broad. So another technical person can understand it. But if a non-technical person to understand and appreciate it, then you have to simplify the jargons as they can explain. And second is diagrams and visuals. So visuals, a story tells 1,000 words. So can replace 1,000 words. So as much as stories or words I can put in within the technical writing, then that makes it really interesting and engaging. So that is what, if you see a lot of manuals you put along with the text. So I cannot repeat the text again and again, but the same text you can put in single diagram, and diagram which is appealing. Not many times we see a lot of diagrams. You can't even like to look at the diagram twice. So diagram is thought provoking that you like to look at it again. So that makes it that helps the person who is writing technical report. Even every project report on any technical side, or not necessarily technical, it can be a financial report also. It is a technical report. So how I put the diagram, that makes it interesting.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Yes, that is what I do. Whenever there's a manual or something, I look at the diagrams.
Yes.
After looking at the warranty seal has been done properly or not. So yes, any kind of technical things, that is something which even a layman would like to look for. Pictorial presentations, absolutely. So thank you for sharing those tips for writing, technical writing. Now, any kind of writing, whether there's social media writing, technical writing, business writing, sometimes we all face those blocks. What new, or sometimes now I can't write anything, and especially imagine if you're writing a blog or a book. Toastmaster Kushal, I would like to ask you, what are the strategies to overcome those writer's block? And how can one keep writing even when nothing comes to your mind?
So at Toastmasters I've learned many things, and out of the amazing learnings which I had, the best one was consistency as persistence will take you long way. Only tagline which could be better than the Nike's tagline. Nike's tagline is
Just do it.
And can we make it better?
Just do it now.
Just do it now. So many times you will feel, should I go? I'm not having that creative idea. Should I do it or no? Just keep on writing. And as Amdavad said, out of 2500 words, you need to of course compress down to 1500 words, but at least have the ideas on paper. And you never know which idea might make it big over the time. So just do it now. And most importantly, as I earlier mentioned, it should strike you. It should not strike you then and there that okay, this is going to be big, this is going to be next, the biggest names in the book industry. But it should be on the paper. And over the time, when you will be compressing in, the proofreader and the editor will of course cut it short to half before you get it on papers. But just put the ideas. It will happen that you might not feel come out here and give speeches. Many times it happens to us, yes. But we still do it anyways. So idea is just do it anyways. And now.
Thank you. Yes, that really helps, Toastmaster Kushal, as I also keep writing some points when I feel I can develop my stories there. So going back to those write-ups really helps, because with a memory like me, I tend to forget what I had thought earlier. So thank you. But when it comes to writing, especially the TEDx writing, because when you reach to the TEDx level, of course, you are already a profound speaker. So what are some common pitfalls which one can avoid when you are preparing for writing and delivering also, for that, to keep that thing concise? What are the common pitfalls which one must avoid and look for?
See, common pitfall one should avoid is the person should stick to the ideas that he has worked upon. And many times reaching to such platform, many people misuse this platform as doing their own publicity. So they talk more about themselves. In Toastmasters words, I would say I have seen speeches, even speeches of 18 minutes. It is only talking about themselves and their ideas, their NGOs, their mission. We should avoid that. We should stick to the ideas that we are presenting to the audience. So that is very important for us, and it is very important that we should speak to express but not to impress them. That is a very important thing that everybody should keep up. We need to be selfless. When few times I have been given the idea which I am not at all relevant to. I am a person from automotive technicality, customer experience field, but I have been given an idea that I am not at all relevant to. Generally, one must take it up as a challenge and try it out as it's a new idea. How can I present it in a better and a profound way? As second important thing is you have to be very wise and very clear of what you are speaking, because here you will not get any feedback. After reading a blog, somebody can call you, I liked your blog. After reading a book, somebody can tell you it's a nice book, I think you should have done this. After listening to your speech, there are very few places where you get the feedback. So you need to keep this in mind that you are literally shooting in the dark. You have to be very wise in choosing your words. And the things that you avoid is, please do not speak about yourself or your mission and your beliefs. Your beliefs are very important. Please do not speak about your beliefs. Speak about the beliefs which are relevant to the audience. In TEDx speech, I have seen speeches of only 5 minutes. The speech is of that topic that you can save environment by using less tissues in the washroom. That also the speaker has presented with the props and everything, that by you doing this activity, you can, in average human being uses 6 tissues in a washroom, you can contribute to environment by using only 3 or 4 tissues. So you can go up to that level. Now, how important that idea is? It is relevant to all of us. So that is very important. Second you should avoid is, please avoid speaking long sentences. Audience doesn't remember that. Especially if you are in India, we are an average human being. We do not remember 5 or 7 sentences per words per sentence. If you are displaying any slide, always remember 6x6 rule. Not more than 6 lines per slide and not more than 6 words per the sentence. That is very important. It should be, when you present anything, it should be in a very common format. Avoid using the stylish fonts, everything. You don't know where you are presenting, what version of computer is that. Your orange color can be displayed as yellow also over there. Your stylish font which is installed in your PC are not there. So keep it simple, Arial or Book Antica fonts. That is very easy. I have seen people, their slide not working at the time of speech also. So that is very important. I would suggest stick to the ideas. make it in a such a way that it is in a deliverable format. Yes, in technical writing book you can write long sentence because person can read it in other. But when it is speech, keep it short and sweet. I am a Toastmaster. I would say, remember all the criteria of Toastmaster speech of old project like project 1 to project 10. Only what you cannot practice there is the vocal variety and the delivery and the body language. In such kind of speech, only and solely content and ideas are important. You are not even allowed to move from one particular area. So you cannot do drama, you cannot utilize, you cannot do different stances, you cannot walk here and there, you cannot do that. So that way you cannot add value to the speech, which generally we try to do by doing the vocal variety. It is only your content, your word and how you present it. That's very important. Important learning in TEDx speech is presenting ideas without using any kind of aids. Vocal variety, delivery, drama. And second thing is, definitely of our old path is persuade the audience and inspire the audience. That two things we must keep in mind. Definitely vivid words. The project 4 was there earlier. That is very important for us, how to use your words. Use words very wisely. Simple words, understandable to the audience. That is what I would say.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dhanraj. Content is the king always. Whether we write for anything, but content is the king. That has been reinforced to us all the time when we are here at Toastmasters. But the same content has to be sometimes written in different ways. Different in business, different in technical language. There are not many parts how you can write it. Of course, you can simplify it. But one area where I feel is social media. Same content has to put in a very different way when we are putting it on Facebook or Instagram or if we are putting it on LinkedIn. So how should the writer adapt the style and what should be the tone when you are adapting to these different social media?
This is actually a great question, and a lot of times what happens is everyone just copy pastes it in all formats. But that is, again I'll talk about algorithm because that's the king here. Because you have to be on the feed. So in Instagram, no one has the time because everyone scrolls continuously. So there, using more than 5 words is kind of killing your post. In LinkedIn, people read 1 or 2 sentences. So that more than 15 to 20 words, kill it. Now YouTube Reels are also popular. There you can't see anything. So only the main content of what is on your video or on your post will be visible. And that is one thing, the amount of words used. Secondly is the tone of the language. In Instagram, you have to be very informal. You can use the words such as wow, OMG, all the new slangs as she said BTW. You can use those. You should use those because that is how people relate to it. But if you use that on LinkedIn, people will shun you out. Because in LinkedIn, it's completely professional. You have to use full forms of everything you use. Add and never forget to add the people you're giving credits to. In LinkedIn, within the lines itself, but in Instagram, you have to add separately. But always do that. And one other thing to create a very impactful way is to add a mention, that's what they call it on Instagram, of your own brand itself. So even if they look at the mention, they'll be like, oh, this is a nice reel. Let me look at the mention. Oh, it's the same company. And by default, because you've been doing it for so long, subconsciously you click on that. And therefore you have hit gold. Because the reel also knows it, Instagram also knows it, and the person looking will also now look at your brand. So it's very crucial on different social medias to know what you write, to how you write, and what length you write to.
Wow, I hope you're noting down all the goals, which is the tips which our speakers are giving to our panelists. So, thank you for that wonderful tip. I'm going to note it down today and remember it and practice doing all that. Toastmaster Biswajit, I would like to ask that, yes, of course, all these things are important. But when we talk about, like she gave her tips for social media things, are there any resources available? Any sites where we can take tips for business writing, technical writing, where we can just, with just one click, we can have some knowledge which we can use?
Yeah, many actually. So, in fact, era of internet. So, gathering information is just on the tip of your fingertip. Like anything that you want, you can find out. Yes, so for technical, if you want detailed information on any topic, something, then there are numerous sites. So, it's like domain specific. So, I cannot give us one domain. So, suppose you want to.
No, but
do
some of
research
your favorites, like, because when I Google, I take more time to finalize which one should I follow.
Right. For this, if I tell you, suppose you are doing some economic research, then there are sites available for economic data and policies. So there you can get that. So, but I would suggest on the resources wise, so in the content, what technology is helping, where I can give you specifically that today, if I divide the content into two parts, one is the content, and the second part is the pictorial presentation. Challenge was that everybody is not an artist, right? So what technology changing is that today that we can generate any kind of image. Normally Canva is just a baby tool, but in fact look at the number of resources, the kind of sketch you can generate. You type today AI can generate, you write a word, you can create an image, and you can further edit it.
Correct,
So
correct.
those are very very handy. So similarly on the content side, you can make a sentence and they can give you the alternate sentences, type frame or even grammarly, mini simplified. They can, because grammar is very important and the syntax in sentence. So they, by using all these apps, their word queues, you can even, there are something called a phrase bank. So where you can, with business writing, you want to know some kind of phrases which will click with my audience, with my customers or with my employees or target audience. So phrase bank will give you expressions. So this kind of websites are available where you can give kind of expression will click, and multiple options you can choose. Okay, this one will click. So which we can write in professional writing.
Yes, with AI coming in, it is actually helping. It's how you use those keywords.
Template. For example, if you cannot make project report on a simple word, you can write. But if you go project report template, it will become very professional and time efficient.
Time efficient.
So there is template for available. Then on the word content side, you can not on the content in terms of material, but how to present the content. That the content was always there. In terms of book, research paper. So every domain they research. Go to online libraries are there, so you can get the content. But now that is how to make it presentable, make it to engage the audience, make it memorable. So that is where AI, I think, taken a quite giant.
Thank you all the panelists, and we have so many questions, but I would like the audience to join us. So audience, we have time for 3 to 4 questions maybe, so you can raise your hands and ask a question and our panelists will be there to answer it. Yes?
I would like to ask a question to Toastmaster.
Can you be a little louder, please?
Yeah. So the question is like you said, you need to connect with the audience. If it's a mixture of audience, then you need to connect with the common idea. So can you share your experience or an example?
See, if I talk about my specific example when I delivered the speech, the theme what I was given or I also selected was to lead by the example. That I can say that connects with all of us even present over here also. So it all depends on how you, as you told us, we need to be very holistic. We need to forget about our own beliefs. What we believe, what is my thought process, what I should tell, no, we should leave it aside. And we should holistically think of the audience only. Once again, I tell about my specific. I delivered the TEDx speech in an institute. It was an engineering institute. So I studied. My audience will be definitely the engineering and management students. Second, their parents. Their people accompanied them. My own co-speakers, TEDx speakers, and people who are escorting them also. So that was already in my mind. And then I decided these kind of people I have to deliver the speech. So I had many ideas, but finally I thought for a very simple idea which can connect with everybody. Say for example, to lead by the example. It can be useful for an engineering student also. It can be useful for a father of that student also. So that's what you have to be very important. You have to put yourself aside and you have to think of the audience only. In that particular few minutes, your audience is your customer. And we have to be customer centric.
Thank you. That was really insightful. So one last question we can have. Yes, Toastmaster Hitesh.
So my question is to Rathi and Vishwajit. So in business writing, when I am writing the content, I am drafting the speech. So how to balance, like I want to share my experience of as an entrepreneur, and I want to share the experience of the veteran Mukesh Ambani or Gautam Adani. So how to balance the content to deliver an effective and better speech?
Basically, always write the why you want to do it. Context, as I said, always. Who is the audience and what a form you want to write. In that context, then if you tell the context, then I can answer the question actually.
No, actually, see, my idea was to deliver a speech in which audience gets motivated, inspired, and are not fear of failure. That their startups didn't get good profits and they want to start again, but they are not getting a pat on the back. So how to balance my experience, how to balance the content, like my experience as well as one failure example and one success example.
You got it, question. So here, so we are talking about, basically it is a persuading the audience. So always the balance is always on your side. Mukesh Ambani, a lot of people know. If you want to motivate the people or persuading the people, you have to give your own example. What you have done it. So Mukesh Ambani is just an example. So that cannot be more than 5% of your speech. So 95% is to be about you, your experience, your learnings. Where did you fail and how did you get up again? So it's all about you and the audience.
Thank you. I'm sure we all have a lot of questions. Even I do have. So let us ask all the questions outside. After the panel discussions, our panelists, we are not going to leave them just like that. We can all ask our questions after the formal panel discussion is over. But what I understood was that whether you're writing on social media, whether you're writing for a book, blog, or a technical or a business thing, but content remains the king everywhere. All we need to do is set up a perfect tone depending upon which platform you're writing. If you're writing for the author, who is your audience? If you're writing for your business, what is your target customer, whom you're writing for? If you're writing on social media, LinkedIn, what is your target audience and what are the specific hashtags which you're going to use? What kind of language which you are going to use? So this was a very insightful information by all our panelists. So let me thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Rathi, Toastmaster Aditi, Toastmaster Vranda, and Toastmaster Kushan for sharing your wisdom and enriching each one of us in the room. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
We can't forget to thank Toastmaster Vranda